Now I want you to look at these side by side, and I want you not to think about the lines, but I want you to think about the values. So obviously this fish is the brightest, and all I've done is a skeletal line. Now I do have a shadow here, here, and actually up here should be kind of shadowed as well. There are actually areas in the picture that are pitch black, and they are part of the background, and that would be these shadow areas. And then this is in shadow because it's actually on the other side. So I just made it a big shadow shape so that I would know the difference. So when I look at this tail, this shadow here I kind of put in, helps me remember that this line of bottom fins is in front of the tail, okay? I have this top, I have the tail, and if you notice my lines go in the same direction. That directional, we call it directional line, it helps lead your eye to know what's what. Are all of mine exactly the same? Nope, but they're close enough. Okay, one thing that can help you is everywhere you have a dimple or a raised spot, if it's raised up, or the lowest part of the dip, that will help you. Okay, even my fin, now this is in front. It's a little bit darker, but that's okay because this is going to be super light in comparison. So this line will fade away when I add shading, but this is in front. And then I have like this comes in, I don't know what part of the fish this is, but it comes up and it goes into the front. And then this almost looks like a little lake. This is the one on the other side, and this is the same side fin as this, except it's on the opposite side. So real quick, where you see these super light spots, that's actually like it folds over. Okay, so remember, a fish's fins are very flowy. So this is actually the underside, like you'd see a leaf when it curls up. And those are the lightest spots, and you don't actually see the bones on them, so it's kind of nice. They kind of add some definition. And then I just left the fish plain. Now what I'm going to go do is go in here with like my HB or my B, and I'm going to shade on top of this. So I'm going to start shading from dark to light, but I'm not going to start like black, okay? I'm going to come in, and remember, I still have some highlights on these, so I'm going to come in and I'm just picking a couple to do where the areas are. And on here, you know, they only come out a little bit, so I'm not going to show all of them. I'm just going to do it a little bit. And I'm doing it about the same distance away, okay? Now this is actually much darker, but when we work from dark to light, what we really mean is we're just working on the darkest areas first. And because you can always make something darker, okay? You can always keep adding and adding until it gets to black. But once you do that, you have a really hard time taking it back down, okay? So this is my darkest areas in there. So I'm just using my pencil to kind of help delineate the value. All right, that just means show the value. So even though it's way darker, like this is actually probably closer to, you know, like a 6B right in here. Like I think this is some of the darkest areas. I'm not gonna make it that dark yet, not everywhere, because I want to be able to erase if I make a mistake. Now I'm gonna turn these together because I'm still kind of using it as a guide. And remember, some of my spines show, so I'm gonna leave some areas of white and some areas of dark. So it's almost like I'm picking which ones I'm gonna color in. And then I like to use a Q-tip when I do ones like this. And remember, these are just my darkest areas. Now as I add and add to this, okay, so as I go over this more and more, all right, so I'm gonna go over it. You're gonna feel like you're going over the same area multiple times. And in reality, you are, because you're gradually building that shade up, okay? You're gradually building that color. Now, I'm turning this page because I've got my reference right here. If I was drawing a still life, I would not turn my page because I do not want to mess up the angle at what I'm drawing. But because this is like this, I can do it. Or because it's, you know, on paper to paper. So now I've got my 6B. Because I don't really have any true areas of white. I just, when I end up going all over this whole thing again, the graphite I pick up on my Q-tip is gonna fill in that area. Okay. And then I like to take like my HB, and I can push really hard and it doesn't get jet black, but I can come in and like make my edges a little crisp, or blend, or put some of these, you know, I kind of want to highlight that light spot, so I'm going to put in a dark shadow next to it and color it in. And this will help make, it helps kind of unify. It gets rid of like the scratchy look or the line look. And because it's still hard, like I could do this with the H one as well, it doesn't necessarily smear as well. So then when I come in with this, my other colors will blend, but those hard lines will stay. And I'm starting to see the pattern. Like if you look in here, I'm starting to see the pattern emerge here. So I'm just gonna keep doing this along this dark spot. I'm gonna be doing all the fins, like around the dark fins, and then do my fish in this light spot last.